Hey everybody, Car Dreamer here, coming at you on behalf of.
D class.
And as you can see, Dace and I, like, it's just we're gonna be permanently on each other's channels now. That's just how it is.
Seriously. Oh
I'm pretty
man.
sure a couple of times Dace tripped over me, and I'm doing air quotes, when he tried to move about his own home. He was deliberately trying to kick me in my sleep. But, oh man, so we are here today to discuss. Actually, this is going to be a series that we're going to do ongoing, and about the Mega Man franchise as a whole, and we'll cover the different ones, whether it be the original X, Legends, NT, whatever ones we actually played. But
Yeah.
we're going to take it just one game at a time.
Yeah, it's gonna be epic because and I think the one game at a time is such a great way to just fully explore not only the ins and outs of whichever one we're talking about, but also just sharing some of our experiences, like whether it was like, oh yeah, you were in grade 5 when you played this one, or in high school when you played this other one, and just some of the challenges you faced or some of the things that struck you about that. I think it's just a well-rounded approach to, yeah, just really getting into the core goodness of each of these games. So yeah, I'm really stoked.
I am too. And now these aren't all going to come out back to back every week as a Mega Man episode. We're going to break
Hmm.
this up. They may or may not all be on the same channel. You'll just have to subscribe
Ooh.
to everybody.
Yeah, plot twist.
I mean, it's not going to matter. We're all together anyway, so it's
Yeah.
just you subscribe to one, you should be subscribed to the other because they're just the same people.
Yep,
I don't
exactly.
know why we have two different channels.
Yeah.
But this is going to be the intro convo. We're just going to talk about how we got into the original Mega Man franchise,
Hmm.
like what got us into our first experience with it, what we fell in love with in a general sense. We're going to try not to gush too much about which game it may be, but
Yeah.
so why don't you lead us off, Dace, as you were the
Okay. Yeah, sure.
guest.
So my first experience with Mega Man that I can recall anyway, and this is definitely hazy because I was pretty young. My older brother at the time had a Nintendo, and he either borrowed Mega Man maybe like 4, maybe 3, or the or he might have even purchased number 5. I specifically remember playing 5 as the first one I played, but I don't recall if maybe I saw him playing a previous one or something like that. But anyway, I'll just go with 5 because that's kind of what sticks out the most. So I just remember, like, yeah, I grew up playing Mario games with my family, like everyone else did back then. But when Mega Man came into the household, there was something so cool about it. It was just like it was so unlike anything Mario or anything Tetris or Dr. Mario or anything like that. And it was 100% me. I was like, wow, this is so cool. I'm playing as a robot, and who doesn't like robots? And you're just going through these levels, platforming, and then going up against bosses and getting new weapons and all this stuff. So I I went all in. That's what really captivated me. Um, Not just in terms of Mega Man, but in gaming. So anyway, I was obsessed with Mega Man at that point because like it was just the coolest thing I had ever seen or touched on Nintendo. So that was kind of my first experience. And then of course, as the years went on, or just like friends in school would sometimes lend me, or we would trade for the week or the weekend or whatever. So I was able to play like number 3 or 4 or 2 from a buddy here or a buddy there. And sometimes we'd go down to. I was actually thinking about this this morning during my coffee. Um, we had this VHS rental shop called Jackson's in the downtown, and I would go in there sometimes with my mother. And it was at the point where like I'm not sure how to describe it, but they were like hard plastic sleeves, um, a little longer or a little taller than like the size of a VHS case, but they were thin, and all they had was like the cover of the game, and on the back, if you flipped it, It would just be whatever the back of the box of the game would have been at that point. So it's like you get to peruse all these pieces of plastic. You can like pick them up, you can look at them. And so anyway, I remember seeing some Mega Man like covers when we would go into Jackson's and thinking like, oh man, like this one looks so cool, and just like being desperate to rent it sometime or own it someday or whatever. So yeah, that's just a fond memory thinking about some of the covers and just all of these different memories surrounding Mega Man. So anyway, that's kind of just a whole lot of rambling about my first experience or some of those earliest memories. So anyway, your turn.
Oh man. So I believe my first experience, I was with my dad and my stepmother at the time, and they were at a mutual friend's house, and obviously I didn't have a choice but to go. But he, his brother had a Nintendo there, and I was allowed to play it while they talked and bonded and did whatever they wanted. I'm just like, okay, fine, video games, cool with me. Um, and one of the games happened to be Mega Man 2. And I didn't know anything about the franchise, never even heard of the first one. And I don't even think they had many other games that I was into other than Mario. So I played it, and I was just it's similar reactions that you had. It's like just blown away by first off the intro music on two, and then just the graphics and for its time the graphics and the sound effect just from shooting Mega Man shooting. Like the sound for his gun is so classic and iconic now.
Hmm.
And I just the platforming, the bosses, um, the different locations. Like every location was unique from one theme to the other, and yeah, I remember I did it for hours, but I finally got up to the final boss, Dr. Wily, and I beat him, and I was just so hooked, and I really wanted it, and he was like, I remember pissing him off because he was like, I could talk. I'll talk to my brother. I think he's looking to sell some of this stuff, and it might be one he was wanting to sell. I didn't want to wait that long. I was like, okay, yeah, cool, cool. And I'm like, nah, I can't wait. So I went. I remember going to a mall with my aunt, and not like a couple of days later. And back then, it wasn't GameStop; it was Electronic Boutique. Back when it was still a good store. And they had obviously Nintendo games, whatever. And man, they had Mega Man 2. It was like, no, I did what I had to say. I don't care. She bought me Mega Man 2 then, and that was he got pissed off when he found out that I had it because he happened to see me playing it, and he's like, "You were that impatient?" I'm like, first off, I'm not your kid. I don't know who you're talking to. I was like, not my problem. I got my game. Like I remember being so joyous, but yeah, that set me on the long line because I played the heck out of two, and then it was excited when three came out. Went back and rented one just to get an understanding of it, and yeah, that's how I got into it. It's like just because I was drug along on a parent's outing, had no choice, and
Yeah.
the person's house happened to have Mega Man, and I popped the best choice I could have played that night.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's definitely, yeah, it definitely serves as a testament just to the captivating quality of Mega Man. Um, because, like, yeah, at that age, anyway, for me, anyway, it was the coolest thing. And I think because also playing games like Mario, where, like, I get that Mario 3. I don't really remember much of two, but like you more or less have a map and you can kind of like choose where you go, but at the same time to see the way Mega Man was laid out, like, oh wow, I get to like do the bosses in any order and I can go back to the levels if I want to and I can like stock up on this kind of stuff and like just explore, see if there are passages. Like that stuff was just so new to me, and there was just something really fresh about those games and just the formula that those games all followed.
So true. And the thing that really made Mega Man as a general series just stand out is like every one of them did do something different.
Hmm.
Even though they followed the same general formula, they each had their own unique introduction of a staple into the franchise. I mean, the first one obviously was unique in and all of itself because it was the first one. But I mean, two streamlined everything.
Yeah.
Like that's where the streamlining came in. I think really got its foot down, like just got everything sorted out, knew exactly what it wanted. Um, I think that was the first one to introduce like a jet and power ups aside from your weapons. The third
Hmm.
one introduced the power slide. The fourth one had the Mega Buster. I mean, it just
Oh
kept going on.
man. Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, exactly, man.
It's like what can you say? I mean, it's funny because it really can keep going. Like actually, three introduced also Rush, I believe,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
then
because I don't think two have anything, or
yeah,
was it?
two just had generic jet and
Yeah.
um, little wall climbers and
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I think yeah, three introduced Rush and the Power Slide. Four was the Mega Buster. I don't know which one introduced Beat.
That was number five.
Five,
Yeah.
okay, and six introduced Rush, new adaptions for Rush, I believe it
Hmm.
was. Plus, I think it introduced. Did it have the store? I don't remember now.
I
So
could
long.
not tell you. It's been
I don't
quite
think
some
so.
time since I did that one.
But yeah,
But
like it was so cool. Like just everyone innovated something or tweaked something or had a new spin on something without changing what made the game great to begin with.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because like it was one of those things like after my like I didn't have Super Nintendo until I bought one used years and years later after its release. So like I kind of missed a lot of uh, the ones after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I didn't play 6 on Nintendo. I played that much later as well, but um, it was neat going from the ones I grew up with to Mega Man 8 for PlayStation and just seeing like, oh wow, Rush has like a thing where he just flies back and forth, dropping all these healing items and just different things, and just seeing how the game was similar to what I had grown up with, and yet new visuals, new bosses, like new adaptations, and like all these different things, and even like cutscenes, like anime style cutscenes for that one, was just really, really fascinating, and I really enjoyed that one a lot. I've played it numerous times. Um, and then, of course, yeah, just getting Mega Man games on handhelds too, like Game Boy.
Man,
Um,
yes.
yeah, Game Boy Color too. I remember when Mega Man Extreme came out for Game Boy Color, and that was just like I was into that like crazy, and just other ones that came out like Mega Man and Bass for Game Boy Advance, I think, and yeah,
Base.
yeah. Well, it's interesting because
Yeah.
in the I always thought it was bass, but in one of the anime scenes they say bass, and so it was like it was so strange because
That is
like
weird.
I said it like I originally would always say bass, and then I hear bass, so I'm like, oh okay, that's
I
strange.
was
But if
always
they're
told
saying it, but
I was always told it was based because they were all in Japan based on music. Because Mega Man's called Blues, or yeah, he's called Blue in the Japan version,
mhm,
Blues, and everybody was, or no, he's called Rockman because it
yeah,
was rock and then
and then
roll,
roll. Yep.
and then yeah, everything had a theme for it, and I
Yeah.
think Proto Man was blues.
Interesting.
So everything had a musical theme, so that's why I always assumed it was bass. I
Yeah.
because
No, it probably is bass. I'm just not sure.
it's gonna go down to that.
Maybe it was just like the
No, he could have said Bass because it would be no different than in like Star Wars where everybody says Han Solo until you get to Lando who's like Han. Like, you heard everybody say Han, including
Yeah,
Harrison Ford, but you're saying Han. Like what?
yeah.
Gotta
It
be different.
yeah, it could have also been like the English voice actors because
True.
yeah, I'm assuming the Japanese one would have yeah, not had those people doing that, but um yeah, either way, it's just yeah, so many games spanning so many systems and oh,
It's really true. Like, and as much as I still like Mega Man games today, I know with 11 out and the Mega Man collection that lets you go back and place. Because I admit I didn't get to play 5, even though that fit the theme, and I didn't get. And they went back and forth. Like 7 was the first 16-bit era Mega Man, and then the PlayStation I think upped the ante even more. Like it's night and day difference between 7 and even 8. And
yeah,
then you get to 9 and 10, which go back to the retro 8-bit, and then you have one like 11.
amazing. Yeah, I haven't not checked out 9 or 10 as far as I recall. So if they're going back to
9 and 10 went back out. Yeah, they went back completely to the 8-bit
oh
NES,
dude,
and then they're arguably, from my understanding, 9 and 10 are the two hardest Mega Mans in the entire series.
well, I know what I'm recording tomorrow. That's
um,
really exciting.
and then 11 went total
Into the future.
like it's still a 2D play. It's a 2.5D platformer
Yep.
with complete animation. And it's interesting because I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's not, but I feel like when you get that too artistic with it, it loses some of the magic of what made
Hmm.
Mega Man.
Yep.
Which is ironic because I always loved like when it came to Mega Man. Let's say go to the X series, and when they did X8, and that was still technically considered a 2.5D. Um, I liked the way they did it because even though it was 3D graphics, it was 3D and it didn't stray from the art style though. Like it was just 3D, but keeping the same what made those characters. It kept their looks. It didn't change anything. Whereas I feel like with Mega Man 11, something got changed. I don't know how to explain it. It's just too different of a interpretation. I don't know how to explain it. Like even though it looks like Mega Man, it doesn't look like Mega Man.
Yeah. And no, I totally hear that.
But like
Like at first glance, you're like, oh, Mega Man. But then for me anyway, when I was playing it, I was just like, yeah, you know what? This is just something. It's like it's just straying a little too far, I think.
yeah, there's a balance to keep it, and it's a shame because I do want to give it a shot because I liked the introduction story. I liked the fact that that was the first Mega Man that had more than Wily's escaped, stop him. Like
Yeah.
there was actually a backstory that I was really intrigued by. Like they for the first time they introduced a new gimmick that had, and the gimmick is part of the storyline. That's what was really neat and fascinating. So they had, and they still have a chance of really revitalizing the series and this franchise with something when they going that route and give you this like a better story. And I would like to see them go back. I didn't mind like the art style for the Super Nintendo or even the PlayStation per se, but I feel like you just can't go past that.
Hmm.
And yeah, like you said, the Game Boy games. Oh my gosh, they were
Oh.
another good one. Like, but they kept to the tradition.
Yep. Absolutely.
And it would be wrong to not talk about the Mega Man on the Genesis, the Wily Wars one. That was you might as well say a remake of 1, 2, and 3.
Interesting.
Well, because I did the Mega Man 2 Let's Play for it,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and graphically, I liked what they did. I don't like some of the sound effect changes they made, and it is sluggish. It
Hmm.
doesn't quite play the same fast pace. Um, the Game Boys are their own thing, which are so good. Like there's such a magic overall to the franchise that is so good, and I'm actually really excited to tackle each game in general, like specifically. Even if I didn't play it it'd be fun to it's going to be fun to tag along and just hear and make my obscene, annoying comments, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's interesting because I've just, yeah, talking about this has gotten me in the mood for just playing through the ones that I haven't done Let's Plays of yet. Because, and especially when some of them are ones I just have never played before, even though I have like the both collections on Switch, so it's not like I don't have access to these games. I can play pretty much all of them. So that's really, really cool.
yeah, I'm super stoked to tackle this and maybe be tackling some Mega Man Let's Plays again. I mean, I did a few. I did like the first three Game Boys like back to back almost, and then I think I was just getting Mega Man out.
Yeah.
But that's not like anything against the franchise. It's just I needed to change the pace of gaming while. But yeah, like so this is not meant to be a long discussion. It was just to talk about like just intro our first experience with Mega Man, talk about just love in general for the franchise, and we'll get more in depth as we cover each of the games.
Definitely.
But yeah, so we can end it here. I'm Card Dreamer of D Class, and
Dace of like 50 other channels.
it's true. Oh man. Yeah, like you all should really be subscribed to D Class, Derailed, Stonebeak Productions, Shmuptopia, Blade Masters Forge.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And all the podcast
Yeah, right,
channels
all
in
the tag
between.
podcasts. You might as well subscribe to Lord Shmup too, because you know he'll be there sooner or
Yeah,
later.
and Switch Underground. Get in there, show Danny some love.
It's true. It's true. But until next time, everybody, thank you all for listening. Again, I would love to hear everybody's stories. What's your first introduction to the Mega Man franchise in general? I'd love to hear specifically if there's any game that stood out to you in each of the different series, which one you really liked. Yeah, just man, it'd be I would love to discuss with everybody at Mega Man. So just leave the comments.
Yep, let it
Until,
flow.
it's true, not to be confused with Let It Go.
Yeah.
Okay. But until next time, everybody, have a good one.
See ya.